Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you for everybody coming out tonight. First, we'll have a roll call of our members.
Well, when I call your name, please let me know that you're present. So Mason,
Present.
thank you. Adrian, Jill, Reggie,
Here.
thank you. Catherine,
Present.
thank you. And then Audrey's here, but she can't unmute, so I'll put her down. And then Kaapuni, Megan, Paula,
Present.
thank you. Michael,
Present.
thank you. Philip, Sylvia,
Here.
thank you. And Patrick is here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will let you know that Adrian and Megan are out of town. I forgot to mention that to you, but so they can't be with us tonight. So first up on the agenda is I want to just very quickly review the Sunshine Law rules. And that means after the city reports and all the reports pretty much, the board members cannot ask questions because we don't have individual items listed on the agenda, unfortunately, but the public it can, and I will ask for public questions or comments. And then when we get to board business, we will have an opportunity to discuss in more detail the implications of this policy. So with that said, let's start out with our first monthly report, and that is from the Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening. My name is Captain Silva. I have the monthly statistics for October. We had 3 brush fires, the wildland fires, 1 nuisance call, 3 activated alarms and no fires. We had 38 medical emergencies, 2 motor vehicle crash collisions, 3 mountain rescues, and then 2 hazmat incidents. The fire safety tips and announcements. Fire safety tip: kitchen and cooking safety. Cooking is a leading cause of home fires. You want to protect yourself, your family, and your neighborhood by practicing these prevention tips. For more information and resources, visit fire.honolulu.gov. First tip is stay in the kitchen while you are cooking. Do not leave cooking unattended. If you must leave the kitchen, turn off the stove. Keep items such as oven mitts, wooden utensils, towels, etc. away from the stovetop, even when the stove is off. Never store items on top of the stove or cooktop and inside the oven. Keep a lid nearby to smother small grease fires. Smother the fire by sliding a lid over the pan and turning the stove off. Only plug one heat-producing appliance, such as a coffee maker, toaster, etc., into an outlet at a time. Create a 3-foot child and pet-free zone around your cooking area. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Are there any questions from the public for the captain? Hearing none, thank you very much for your report. We appreciate your attendance this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Honolulu Police Department, District 1.
Hello, Lieutenant James Farrell, District HPD. Our stats for the month of October, just go over those with you guys. Motor vehicle thefts were 6. The previous month was 15. Burglary cases was 0. The previous month was 4. Theft cases 3, same as previous month. UEMV, which is just breaking into a car, down from 10 the previous month to 1. Assault cases was 0 for both months. Sex assault cases was 1, up from 0 the previous month. Graffiti cases 8 from 0 the previous month, and drug cases 1, down from 2. Our total calls for service was 420, and that's down about a third from, or half from 644 the prior month. And then just our safety tip for you guys, as we get into the Christmas shopping, holiday season coming up in this coming month, just be mindful of that when you're out shopping. Try not to have a lot of items all stacked in your car, very obvious and tempting for thieves. Just secure things in the trunk and keep your wits about you when you're going to and from your vehicle. Don't be overloaded with things. Keep your hands free if you can, so you can react and respond to things and be alert to your surroundings. And just lock your vehicle, park in well-lit areas, and have a safe holiday shopping season.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the public for the lieutenant from District 1? Hearing none. I'm sorry, Audrey, I mean, not Audrey, Paula, we can't take a question from the board. So seeing none, thank you very much for your report, Lieutenant. We appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, we have District 5. Sir, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Can everybody
worries.
hear me clearly?
Yes.
First of all, I wanted to apologize for the lack of a representative last month. We had a substitute LT come in for us, one of the other lieutenants on the other watches, and he wasn't aware that there was a meeting, and he didn't find out until later. So I really apologize about that. Let me give you the stats for September and October. In September, there were no aggravated assaults reported. October, there was one. September, there were 2 auto thefts. October, there was 1. Burglaries in September were 2. October was 0. Robberies, there was 1 in September reported and 0 in October. September had 0 sex assaults reported. October, there was 1 sex assault reported. Unfortunately, I don't have any specifics at this time. September, there was 1 simple assault reported, and October, there was also 1 simple assault reported in your area. September, there was 9 basic thefts reported in the area, and in October, it was down a little bit to 7 simple thefts. In September, there was 5 thefts from vehicles in the area, and in October, there was 4 reported thefts from vehicles. Total calls for service in September were 918, and for October, there were 826, a little bit down. To echo the excellent tip provided by the lieutenant from D1, it's coming down to the holiday season, and a lot of times we have a lot of things weighing on our heads. We're trying to multitask, so a lot of times our attention to the things going on around us sometimes gets a little muddled. Please take a moment to take a breath and take a look around you, what's going on around you, so that you can avoid being in a situation where because drivers as well are going to be not paying attention. So I'd rather not have someone be hit by a car in a parking lot in a shopping mall because you're more concerned with your shopping bags and those kinds of things, because the drivers are distracted as well. I'll leave it open for any questions right now.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Are there any questions from the public? I don't see any, so thank you very much for your report this evening. We appreciate it.
No problem, sir. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Next up, we have neighborhood security reports and with Paula.
Aloha. My name
Aloha.
Aloha Nui Loa. We have had several reports on different things that occurred in the neighborhood, which I need to remind everyone that if you have someone coming into your house, the first one was reported to District 5, where 3 men came and said they were from DLNR and they wanted to know if the house had squatters. As it turned out, according to our boss, that could have been a possible home invasion. They had black hoodies on. They had a red sedan, which was Japanese style. And this occurred in a house up on Neolopua. We want to make sure everyone knows anyone coming to the house should have name tags on if they're DLNR. The car should be noted as being marked and not any sedans showing up. We don't need any house invasions. Number two question came up today as to Trende Aragua gang coming in from Venezuela and whether we will be affected in Honolulu, which I wanted to bring up later if we have to have question and answer. Since the police aren't here, I wouldn't get the answer right away. Okay, the other one is for a 5-year plan on the Poly Highway, which should be worked on now, because if we have serious emergency and shut off of the Poly Highway, instead of everyone having to go back to Kalihi to get home to pick up a child or whatever, I want to see 2 openings brought up in our area that could allow people to get through back to Kailua without speeding. And I think speeding is continuing to be a bad one in this area. That's my report for tonight, and hopefully everyone starts looking out like the police officer, HPD Lieutenant Craig Cretton. He said everything we needed to repeat. If you see something suspicious, call 911. Anything suspicious, call 911. And that might be just slow moving cars through the neighborhood, looking down your driveway, posting things on your mailbox. And we don't need anyone, because this last week we had 2 men in the area who both were homeless, but one was stealing plants, the air plants, right off Wood Street. This is Paula, is known as 50. Thank you to District 5 for everything they do for us. Stop the speeding on the Poly. Thank you. And the
Thank you,
radio.
Paula. Oh, thank you, Paula. Are there any questions from the community for the Neighborhood Security Watch? Seeing none, thank you very much. Next up, we have Board of Water Supply. We have Jimmy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Llanos. I'll be representing Board of Water tonight. Just going to go over some concerns that we had at our last meeting. First is updates on the water system improvements project in Lower Nuʻuanu. That's EVA, the PUEVA project, job 22-21. There's no new updates. The Board of Water Supply is waiting on the necessary approvals from the State Historic Preservation Division. And we probably won't receive any approvals until at least early 2025, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But we appreciate the community's patience and will continue to provide the board with monthly updates. So the second concern was new patches on the road after a main break on Pu'awaina Drive. And I'm here to report that the Board of Water Supply contractor completed the final paving of the excavated area on Monday, November 18, 2024. And if the temporary patch is not in acceptable condition, we encourage the community to report it by calling our 24/7 trouble line at 808-748-5000. Select option 1. We will send someone to smooth the patch before final paving begins. And next concern was, and I did get your email about this, Audrey, the September main break on Alika Avenue and the patching on there. And I'm here to report that the newly paved asphalt is relatively flexible and may settle in certain areas, resulting in shallow dips and lumps. And the Board of Water Supply is only responsible for restoring the road that was excavated during main break repairs. The next concern is cleaning the street before main breaks occurred. There's a concern about mud getting on houses. During main break repairs, road excavation is necessary, which can lead to additional debris and mud. This is why the crew cleans up after repair work is completed. But if a resident finds mud or debris on the property caused by a main break, they can ask a BWS crew member at the site to clean it up or file a claim with the Board of Water Supply. And last concern from last month was about letting folks on certain streets know that main breaks are occurring on other streets. And the community can receive main break updates via the following platforms. There's Board of Water Supply website, www.boardofwatersupply.com/mainbreaks. There's Nextdoor, There's Facebook, and there's hnl.info for high-profile main breaks. So I'll continue to the monthly report for this month. For my main break report, there's only one main break in October. That was on October 28th, 2024. That was a 6-inch diameter pipe at 2746 Dow Street. And the install year for that pipe was 1938. And now I'll move to my general water announcements. I'm going to be talking about BWS recruitment. Shape your future and become part of a dynamic and well-run city organization that protects Oahu's precious water resources, promotes your growth as an employee, and supports your work-life balance. The Board of Water Supply is looking to fill permanent full-time positions in engineering, information technology, customer care, and administrative support. Contract positions are also available. To apply, go to www.boardofwatersupply.com/jobs. Join the Board of Water Supply and become a water protector. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Jimmy. Are there any questions or concerns from the public? For the Board of Water Supply? Hearing none, thank you very much for your report. And I will let you know if any of our board members have questions, they can email, or we'll talk about that in our discussion of the sunshine law issues. But thank you very much, Jim.
Thanks, everyone.
Have that back. Next up, we have the filling of vacancies. Is there anybody that would be interested? And this is the area around Punch Bowl. If you question if your residence qualifies, let us know if you're interested, and we can take it from there. We have 2 vacancies. Is anyone in attendance that would be willing to serve? Hearing none, we can move on to our reports from non-boards. And first up, we have Ray G from Oahu Metropolitan Planning. Thank you very much, Jimmy, by the way. Thank you very much for that good report. So go ahead, Ray G.
Hi, nothing really to report this month. I think the statewide transportation improvement program, they talked about their overall work program for the next year. Nothing in our neighborhood. And I don't think they had much money, or they're not projecting much money with the new administration coming in. So they're being conservative and have not proposed any new projects in our area. So I'll just keep eyes on them and continue to attend the meetings. I think there's a meeting the first week of the month, and represent our board. And please reach out to me if you have any questions relating to transportation. And I'm sorry I never got to, oh, that's a different subject. But yeah, that's what's happening at the Oahu MPO.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the community for our MPO representative? Hearing none, thank you very much, Reggie. We appreciate your going to those meetings and doing great reporting coming back. Next up, we have the Papalea community updates. I think all 3, I know at least Megan and Adrian, I think, went to St. Louis for a conference. So is there anybody that wants to give that report? I didn't think so. So hopefully they'll be back in the future. Next up, we have residents and community concerns.
Ka'apuni is here. I don't know if she wants to say anything.
Oh, Ka'apuni, did you want to give that report? Okay, I didn't guess that. Okay, well, I guess not. So if maybe she stepped away, if she comes back, we can take it at that time. So why don't we move on to residents and community concerns? Do we have anyone from the community that would like to express a concern at this time? These are for items that are not on our agenda. Anybody? Okay, seeing none, we can move on to our elected officials reports. First
Mr.
off, we
Chair?
have- Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
My mute is going on and off.
Oh, Kathy.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah,
then.
sorry. My mute is going on and off. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries.
I had-
You have the floor.
Sorry. Yeah, I had a quick citizen concern regarding the sidewalks on Kama'aina Drive. I had reported the last meeting, I believe in September, and prior to that, I had called the neighborhood commissioner's office and spoke to Rochelle about it. Let's see. Okay. When I reported on the last board meeting, I said there was uneven sidewalks and cracks, and if it could be repaired. After that time, I received a card posted on my gate from the city, an inspector, and he is saying that the sidewalk that's fronting or going around my street that is uneven and it's a storm drain, I am responsible for fixing it out of my pocket. And I'm wondering why that is. It's a sidewalk, it's a city sidewalk that was probably built when the community was built, and that's like maybe 60 years ago. And it's a little bit uneven due to near the storm drain. I am now being asked to pay for the repairs for the sidewalk. And two options I was given is I either find a contractor on my own and pay for it to get repaired out of my own pocket, or I get cited by the city and I have 60 days to fix it and still pay the city money to fix it. I have a extreme concern about it because there's other storm drains on our street, and it looks like they're getting fixed because it's spray painted, the areas, and I'm not sure why I'm put in this position, since I was the one that came on the board and talked to Rochelle about trying to see if the city could fix our cracks and uneven sidewalks so it's more safe for the community, the walkers, the people with little kids, and whoever else. This is my concern, and I'm wondering, I've reached out yesterday to Kim Hashiro's office, the representative for the mayor, and I did leave a message with her receptionist or their front person. I have not received a call back yet regarding this. That was it, Chair.
Thank you. Unfortunately, due to sunshine law issues, the board members themselves cannot respond to your inquiry, and that's
Sure.
the recent decision, just so you know.
Yes. Okay.
So-
Maybe when the mayor.
Yes, when the mayor's rep, and she'll be, if she's here, if Director Ashira is here, then we can hear from her at that point. And I see she is here, but we'll wait till just a moment to get to that. Thank you. I do see Sylvia's hand up. Sylvia, is there something like a point of order or something you want to offer?
No, aren't we at citizens' concerns?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
can I
Thank you.
ask something as a private citizen?
No, you
Not
cannot.
Be a
I'm
board
sorry,
member?
Sylvia. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules, but the rules are, unless it's on the agenda, a board member we cannot use the public concern time to express any concerns that we have.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Just wanted
that's
to know.
just
I
the
guess
rules
I'll
that are
ask the
handed down.
question. Can I ask the question?
No,
when
you
the
cannot.
mayor's person comes on?
No, you cannot, unless it's on our agenda. Only members of the community can. And we'll talk about that in more detail when we get to that specific
Okay.
item on our business.
I
but
don't know. I guess
That's,
I won't
okay.
voice that information.
I know,
is
I hear your
concern in
frustration, but
my
we've
district.
got to follow it's what we've been told the law requires. So with that said, are there any other community concerns? And Kathy, I see your hand up, but we're going to get to the mayor's report in just a moment, and you can talk to her the director of Shiro at that time. Thank you. Are there any last moment community concerns? Hearing none, we can move on to our elected official reports. And first up, we have Director Emily Shiro, and I see her on the screen. So please go on. Go ahead, Director. Thank you.
Hi, go over the report that I'm here to share, or start with Kathy's concern.
I would probably say you start with your report and then you can
Okay.
address Kathy's. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I am going to be linking the mayor's newsletter in the chat. Topics or highlights for this month include information on the city's proposed increases in the sewer fees. This will be the first increase since 2016. And kind of related to that is the Department of Environmental Services would like to reach out to the board and schedule some time to go over the proposed increase. So we're asking all board chairs to contact Director Roger Babcock or Deputy Mike O'Keefe. I'll provide their email addresses to you, or to call and set up your board's presentation. So this will be a Q&A type of format where they will be presenting information and there'll be an opportunity to ask questions. Getting back to the newsletter, there's also a recap regarding Pride Month in Honolulu. The mayor did walk in the Pride Parade, which was a few weeks ago. And there was a lot of participation from the community. There's also information regarding updated flood maps from FEMA and what it could mean for homeowners. Also a true story regarding an open ocean rescue featuring an Oahu student athlete and city first responders. And lastly, a popular park and baseball field in Waipahu opens after a $4 million repair and upgrade. There's also information being provided by NCO regarding a neighborhood plan review. So the Neighborhood Commission's Neighborhood Plan Committee began meeting to conduct a comprehensive review on the neighborhood plan. A presentation with more information is available in your board's Google Drive. And the committee currently meets on the third Monday of every month at 6 p.m. If you have any questions, please contact the Neighborhood Commission office. I'm going to be moving on to some responses based on questions submitted last meeting. So regarding the faded stop notification, I guess, it's not a stop sign, it's actually on the road, to be repainted at Pu'upaka Drive and Kama'aina Drive. So the Department of Transportation Services completed their investigation, issued a work order to DFM to repaint the faded pavement markings, as well as replace a faded stop sign at Pu'upaka Drive and Niolopua Drive. So as I mentioned, there's work orders submitted. And for updates regarding this request, please contact DFM, and I will provide their number in the chat. Status on approved speed bumps for 2100 and 2600 Tantness Drive. So this is a question also posed last meeting. DTS has not completed their investigation regarding the request for speed humps near 2600 Tantness Drive. However, they had previously recommended speed humps on Tantness Drive near Papakalea Community Center. DTS will program the installation of these speed humps pending the availability of funds, or request the assistance of the State of Hawaii Department of Transportation to install them. Next, storm drains were reported as being uneven due to trees, and there were 5 different addresses submitted. DFM's report in the field, they investigated 3 city drainage catch basin structures and drain lines in the vicinity, and reported that they're in fairly good condition with no evidence of unevenness. Although no issues were noted with the storm drain system, there were damages noted involving sidewalks, and a one view case was generated for DPP inspection of the sidewalk area and preparation of a work order request if appropriate. In addition, service request number 58876 was initiated to address the uneven sidewalks at 3303 Kama'aina Drive, 3304 Kama'aina Drive, and 3387 Kama'aina, and to apply a temporary patch if needed. The permanent sidewalk repair work will be scheduled upon availability of resources. Okay, moving on to, there was a status update request regarding a temporary stop sign. Need for a stop sign to be installed at the corner of Kama'aina Drive and Kama'aina Place. And DFM reported that a temporary stop sign was installed on September 24th, and then a permanent stop sign was installed on September 30th. So hopefully members of the community have seen that. Light pole repair. A question was posed if a light pole could be repaired past 3331 Kama'aina Drive and near 3345 Kama'aina Drive. The light isn't working. And on September 30th and defective conductors were replaced and the light has been restored. So again, hoping that the community noticed that improvement. So to respond to Kathy Chalk's question, so I did receive your message, Kathy. However, also was in communication with Rachel Cristobal, and since you had been in communication with her first, she said that she had left a voice message for you yesterday and was waiting for a call back. So I did not contact you because I didn't want to confuse the situation, and I was hoping you had gotten Rachel's message and had been able to contact her.
Yeah, go ahead,
Director.
respond, please.
Oh yeah, sorry, Director. I did not, I guess, get the voice message. I did try and contact Rachel several times, and maybe like on also the last time, November 1st, she was supposed to come back to the office, and when I called back on the 6th, she went on vacation through the holidays. I guess the holiday weekend. But I guess I will contact her tomorrow. She's on the meeting also. Some of your work orders that you did just go over. You talked about a work order for 3303, 3304, and 3381 Kama'aina Drive for sidewalk uneven, I believe, on your report just now. Okay, I am 3304. If a work order is being put in for that, I am questioning why the city inspector has contacted me saying it's my responsibility to take care of the repair. I can later on contact you and give you the person's name and the phone number. He is saying I am responsible to pay. I don't understand because you said there's a work order.
Can you provide us a copy of the notice that you were sent?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
it was. He left it on my gate. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that would probably be the
that
better way to do this. Could you email it to Rachel?
Sure, I can email it to her.
And then we
later tonight.
And then we can follow up on that.
Okay, that would be great. And thank you. I do want to thank you though for the stop sign. I did see it. So did the neighbor in that area, the new stop sign that was put up, and also the street light. Thank you so much. Many people walk in the evenings, and now we are able to see and get better visibility walking on the sidewalk and crossing the street. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I noticed it basically right after it was done in September. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's great to hear.
I think that was
Director, does that?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will email her. Can Rachel put her email address in the chat and also yours? I could CC you too, just in case. I don't have the email address.
We can do that.
Okay, and then I can send it out with the notice that I received.
Okay.
Thank you,
And we'll
Director.
follow up and get back to you.
Thank you.
Kathy, I just
Okay,
want to
you're
apologize.
welcome.
I didn't give you a call back. What happened was that I was on vacation from October 31st and didn't come back until the 12th.
Yeah, I did receive that, but nobody called. I still didn't receive a message after the 12th. I left it on your direct number and also the customer service number, the main number, for you to
Okay.
call me.
Okay, sorry
Yeah,
that the
regarding
voice
this.
didn't go through. But
Yeah,
we'll,
thank you.
we'll work with you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other community questions or concerns for the mayor's representative? Seeing none. Kathy, if you put your hand down, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I know it's
This
easy.
thing is like peculiar. Yeah, thank
But,
you. Sorry.
So just one last time, are there any other community participants that would like to ask something of the mayor's rep? Seeing none, thank you very much, Director Ishiro. Thank you very much for your help with the community issues we have. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Council Member Tyler DeSantos Tam. Do we have is he here or a representative from his office? Go ahead, please.
This is Lisa from Councilmember Dos Santos Tam's office. Aloha, everyone. Just a couple of things. You should have received our newsletter for October, and I know I haven't been on since actually August. So some of these things, they were done in October. They're a little retrospective, but I just want to share what has happened. We did have a little fire ant community meeting in September for the Papakolea area. And since then, our most recent little fire ant meeting brought upon information for the Makiki region. So we were able to partner with Senator Fukunaga to have that meeting October 30th. There's a lot of good information. If you need information, you can contact our office, and I will put all of my information contact in the chat. Or you can also contact stoptheant.org. That's stoptheant.org. And hopefully we can be able to eradicate this soon. We also have a couple of legislation that council member has been working on. Bill 52, which discusses an electric bike working group. He's also partnering with Councilmember Toba on that. It's Bill 52, which focuses on regulation for e-bikes. The recent rise in vehicular accidents involving e-bikes riders has highlighted the need for stronger safety protections, especially for young riders commuting to school and work. Bill 52 has enabled both of our offices with assistance from the Department of Transportation Services to establish an e-bike working group. This group includes a wide range of city, state, and private sector experts, all collaborating to develop practical legislation around e-bikes. Our meeting was held in Transportation Committee on today, and they had another working group meeting this afternoon. So hopefully we'll be able to update you on the types of things that will be going on through Bill 52. Councilmember also united with Esther Kia Aina on Resolution 24-148, which would be reevaluate what types of apartment projects can be built in existing apartment zones around Oahu. At present, Oahu's apartment zones are fairly restrictive, resulting in significant development pressures on single-family zoned neighborhoods. For example, the monster home phenomenon, and the creation of high-rise towers rather than small to medium-sized apartment buildings. It is estimated that the changes contained in Resolution 24-148 could result in the production of hundreds of new apartment units at a range of income levels, all within existing apartment zones. In our newsletter, there's a whole bunch of other bills and legislation that I would have you look at. In part of our constituent updates, we do have cybersecurity awareness, so staying safe online. With cyber threats on the rise, it is more important than ever to protect our personal and business data. This past October, we joined the Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs in promoting cybersecurity awareness to keep our community safe online. Cyber criminals often target sensitive information like credit cards, health records, and other personal data. So to protect yourself, consider a few key steps to conduct regular security assessments, keep your software up to date, use firewalls, train yourself and others on cybersecurity best practices, and back up your critical data. For additional resources and tips, DCCA website at the state has information, and hopefully we can all work together to keep our Honolulu secure. That's what I have at this time. And if there's any questions, I'll be willing to take.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the community for the council members representative? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report, Lisa. We appreciate it. Have a good evening. Next up, we have the governor, Governor Josh Greens. Well, I guess his representative is. Does he have one here?
Hi.
Oh yes, please go ahead.
Hi. Hello. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Kayla. I work with Will New, who you've probably seen before at DCCA, but I'm going to be your guys' governor's representative. I put the governor's newsletter in the chat for everyone to read, but just some quick highlights for this month is that Kauai County made further investments into their renewable energy, and the island is projected to become the first of the Hawaiian Islands to reach a 100% renewable portfolio standard. This past month, the Hawaii Fire Relief Housing Program was recognized nationally for their work on Maui, which helped approximately 600 families find housing following the fires. The state has also launched registration for its annual Life Smarts competition for all high schools in the state. It's a competition that tests kids, high school students, on valuable financial literacy skills. And for anyone interested in learning more or signing up a team, they can visit cca.hawaii.gov/lifesmarts. And then additionally, the last thing is that the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations will be holding a job and resource fair for anyone that's interested. It's going to be Friday, November 22nd, 2024. At 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it's going to be at 830 Punch Bowl Street. And again, the newsletter should be in the chat for anyone that wants to learn more.
Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns from the community for the governor's representative? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming out this evening. It's great to see you. Thank you. So next up we have Senator Rhodes, and I know Senator Rhodes is traveling, and so I expect we have a representative from his office.
Sorry, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and members of the board. My name is Braden Chung, and today I'll be representing Senator Carl Rhodes. So just as a quick COVID-19 vaccine update, a new updated 2024 to 2025 COVID vaccine has been approved for use. COVID shots are now similar to flu shots in that they target the most prevalent strains of COVID. The vaccine is not meant to prevent symptoms of every COVID variant. Rather, the aim is to protect against severe illnesses, hospitalization, and death. And Senator Rhodes is planning to introduce a bill basically requiring people under the age of 16 to wear a helmet, and I believe this is in response to board member Chris Shege's concern. $750,000 in capital improvement project funds was released to Nuʻuanu Elementary School to finance design and construction for safety improvements, including fencing around the covered gym. If you have any questions or ideas to present to Senator Rhodes in regards to bills, you can contact his office via phone or email, and you can let me know right now, and I can relay that message back to him.
Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns from the community for the senator's representative? Hearing none, Braden, thank you very much for coming out this evening. We appreciate your report.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next up is Representative Takanuchi, and I see her online, so please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Good to see everyone. Oops. Let me grab my report. Mine is short this month. Sorry, no real movement on any of the things. I've been trying to follow up, kind of the ongoing things. So still no update on the crossing signs near Nuʻuanu Elementary. Still no, update on getting that report from DLNR about the Nuʻuanu stream. But I do have my office following up about monthly with all of these to let them know that the board is still interested in getting this information. Kaapuni, I'm also bugging Director Sniffen about timing to get the bridge reinstalled up there. I'm not sure. I kind of haven't heard back in a while, when I was just asking for a general timeline, but definitely will share any of those as soon as I get an update. Just a couple of quick things. I have one update. We got information from the Department of the Attorney General about the Assisted Community Treatment Program. Some of you might have, if you've talked to me kind of recently, you might recall this program. This is the for people suffering from mental health or substance abuse issues. We try to use this a lot for some of the frequent flyer homeless people who just need to kind of get supportive services. But these are court orders that can be issued to help kind of get people into services if they're going to be a danger to themselves or others, or might not be able to, or they're kind of far gone to the point where they can't make that decision for themselves. But the Attorney General's office actually launched a online platform to help the public, if you have a friend or a loved one who might be able to benefit from this kind of help and a court-ordered help to kind of get into treatment and services, you can use the website to kind of help them compile information to see if your friend or loved one is a qualified candidate, and then the Attorney General's office can help with starting that process for you. I'll put the link that into the chat, and it's just another tool that the state is doing to kind of work with the public on some of these issues. So yeah, no real other updates, but feel free to always reach out to my office if I can help with anything.
Thank you. Are there any questions, concerns from the community for our representative? Seeing none, Jenna, thank you very much for, Kaapuni, actually, the board members are restricted from really asking follow-ups or anything like that during the meeting due to the recent interpretation of the Sunshine Law issues. So, sorry. No, thank you very much, Representative. We appreciate your time this evening. Thank you. All right, that concludes our, do we have any other representatives from any federally elected offices or any other elected officials that aren't on the agenda? Seeing none, we can move on to board business. As these are properly noted for public discussion, the board is free to participate in all these board business items. So first up on the agenda is a presentation from the Department of Agriculture regarding little fire ants, and I'll turn over to Jared to introduce himself and give that presentation.
Hi, aloha kako, and good evening. My name is Jarrett Lau, and I'm the acting entomologist from the Hawaii Department of Agriculture Plant Quarantine Branch. One of my main roles as the acting entomologist is to coordinate the little fire ant response on behalf of DOA on the island of Oahu. So, the big question first when we're talking about little fire ant is, what is little fire ants? Oftentimes, when we describe little fire ant as like a small red ant that stings, let's be honest, when you ask the public, it generally can be almost any ant that we see out there. As you can see, we have a picture of 4 different ants. The first one at the top left is the little fire ant. The other 3 are lookalike species, the big-headed ant, tropical fire ant, and the trench ant. As you can see, many of them share many characteristics, but as we dive deeper, we can see how we can better be able to identify suspected little fire ants. Little fire ant, also known as Wasmannia aurepunctata, is a yellowish to red colored ant. It's very small, as you can see inside the image on the top left screen. It can be like pretty much the size of a pencil lead. They're very slow moving, and they also have they lack the skill to really be able to cling onto vertical surfaces. If you see them on a branch or you have them in a vial and you tap it, they tend to fall off. Little fire ants, unlike other fire ant species, they don't create mounds. They like to create nests within crevices and cracks, within tree trunks and rock wall places. Little fire ants also have a tendency to drive out all other ant species. So if you're starting to see other ant species around your yard, that might be a good indicator that you do not have little fire ants. Lastly, little fire ants has a tendency to be able to get moved around through human interaction, whether that be through bringing in new plants or even using new media into your properties. Next few pictures. Over here, just more examples of how small a little fire ant is. As you can see, it's practically looks like a little grain of sand. If you go to the next picture, please. As you can see, this is just a picture of a little fire ant on top of a PVC pipe and paracord. And then the following one is also a little fire ant being attracted to one of our peanut butter sticks. So a big question, why should you be concerned about little fire ants? So little fire ant is known for having a very painful sting. It can cause welts. Not only that, for not only farmers, but anyone enjoying the outdoors, it can make things very difficult as I stated before, they have a difficulty to cling onto surfaces. So if they're in your tree line and wind blows through, they all fall down on you and you get stung all over. Another sad factor that when it comes to little fire ant is that they can cause blindness in your pets. Many pet foods are protein based and the little fire ant is attracted to that. So as your pets go to eat at their bowls, the little fire ant comes and they can sting the sensitive tissues around the eyes, causing blindness. Not only that, if you're a home gardener or have an agriculture business, little fire ant is known for encouraging the growth of pest species such as scale insects and aphids that they use to gather nutrients for. And lastly, and the biggest reason that I believe we should care about little fire ant is that it has the potential to change, our way of life. I grew up here, born and raised in Hawaii. Going out hiking, going out picnics with my family. If we don't take the stand to really put in the effort and time to control this invasive species, there might become a time in our future where we have to give up parts of our island life that we have grown to love. So I guess the big question is, what can you do to help fight against the spread of little fire ants? And a big one is testing your property. The Hawaii Department of Agriculture does have test kits, but even if you don't have our own test kits, it can be very simply made using chopsticks or popsicle sticks. Just put a small smear of peanut butter on it and then find places in your yard. Try to identify key areas. They like to find places that are shaded, cool, and moist. So places with like high vegetation, near rock walls, under trees, in potted plants, or near irrigation systems. You're going to want to place these sticks in these areas for 30 minutes. That's enough time for the little fire ant to be attracted to the bait and come towards it. Once you collect these sticks, place them into a Ziploc bag and then seal them and put them in your freezer for at least 24 hours. This will humanely dispatch the ants and will make it safe to be transported. Once you collect these samples, you can mail it to us or any of our partner agencies, the Hawaii Ant Lab or the Oahu Invasive Species Committee. From there, we'll identify any ants on it and we can recommend treatments, whether it's little fire ant or not. Even if you don't think you have little fire ant, it's important to, for us to collect any species of ant because little fire ant isn't the only destructive ant that we're looking for. There's also the red imported fire ant, Trichomyrix myri, and the list goes on. The more we're able to collect this data and have community participation, the more we're able to be active and out there and be more proactive in solving this problem. So this slide was just more of an exercise to show to test the crowd to see how like where they will place baits. But as I stated before, yeah, we're gonna be aiming for vegetative areas, potted plants, anywhere that really retains moisture that they're gonna want to stay in. Other places to test around is like I said, like the areas that you feed your animals, or if you have chicken coops, those tend to be areas that also attract little fire ants. So Hawaii Department of Agriculture, the role that we play in the realm of little fire ant, we originally our original kuleana was towards the nurseries and private businesses. That's why we were not as visible as our partner agencies. In the nurseries, we're doing extensive surveys, doing forward and back tracing. When we get to the surveys, we do a full survey of their entire property, testing and trying to delimit if there is a presence of little fire ant. If little fire ant was to be found, we would create treatment plans and then begin a 3-year monitoring process where we come out every 3 months to continue to monitor the progress of treatment and adjust any obstacles that come about. Recently, we have expanded our scope into residential. Currently we're working with the Hawaii Ant Lab and Oahu Bay Species Committee, also taking referrals from private residences. If you have any concerns, or if you want us to come out to a property, feel free to reach out to us. Currently, our process is that once we get to a private residence, we'll do an initial survey just to confirm the presence of little fire ants, and from there we'll delimit the population. Once we're able to delimit the population, we can bring in our certified PCOs that we should have confirmed by the end of the month, and then the Hawaii Department of Agriculture will cover the entire treatment for free. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My email is hdoa.pqento@hawaii.gov, or you can always reach out to me at my work cell, 808-853-8013.
So you're open for questions. Hold on.
Yes, please.
I see. Do we have any questions from the board? Department of Agriculture. Yes, I think that's all right, Reggie.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Jared. Thanks for coming out and making the presentation today. And so sorry, I hit the wrong button. I just had a question. Is HDOA now helping map out where the fire ants are located so that it can be contained or prevented from entering other neighborhoods?
In general, are you asking about a specific neighborhood? Currently, we have 2 neighborhoods that we're working in, but we're looking to continue to expand our efforts. If we have any referrals from our partner agencies or even any private residents, we'll of course take action. If it is currently in being under treatment under one of our partner agencies, I just have to clear a meeting with them just to make sure we're not doubling up on resources and making sure we're using our time the most effectively.
That's great. Thank you so much for the answer.
No problem.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from our board members? Paula?
I just want to tell you that a year ago, I got several phone calls for the top of, I forget the road, but that runs up along into the forest area for red fire ants next to Roosevelt School. And they had people in masks and all that went in there. But now I would like to know how close to Papakolea is that? You're talking about Papakolea at this time, because those ants have been there a really long time, if that's a true thing. And that's where most of the homeless are going in and probably leaving food. So you might want to check that out. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we can look into that. I believe that area is noted by one of our partner agencies, the Hawaii Ant Lab. As for Papakolea itself, it's I know they're being taken good care of with our partner agencies, but like if they need assistance, we're more than happy to step in.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from any of our board members? How about from the public? Does anyone have a question or concern they want to express at this time? Hearing none, thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate you coming out this evening, and I'll just reiterate, if there are any questions or concerns, please, I guess, reach out to the department and they can take care. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda, we have a presentation from the Department of Environmental Services. I guess Clayton Higa. If you'd like to come over here, just so.
Thanks, yeah.
Please, sir.
I've got a handout, so.
Thank you.
Good evening, folks. My name's Roger Babcock. I'm the Director of the Department of Environmental Services. And if you want to pull up the flyer that I'm handing out, it's on our website. So honolulu.gov/Opala.
Oh, no.
Or you can do //ENV. Any of those.
Yes, you got it on there.
It is, I think it should be on the back page. Honolulu.gov, /ENV. And at the very top, there's a link to this flyer. So thanks for having me to this evening. And I'll give you, we're doing some outreach. You've probably heard about this on the news and some other places, but I'm happy to give you a little overview of what it shows, what's on this flyer, and then answer any questions the board has or the public as well. So environmental services, at the very top there, it says sewer rates information page, there, or it's even below there, or you can click on that thing there that says flyer, proposed sewer rates flyer in orange, right? Yeah. There you go. So that's what people have in front of them. So environmental services, we take care of wastewater and solid waste. But tonight I'm going to be talking about wastewater, which is a sewer. And we are the ones who you pay the sewer fees to. You get a bill from the Board of Water Supply, and it has one side has the Board of Water Supply, the drinking water charges, and the other side has the sewer charges. The sewer charges are the larger charges of the two. We are here to talk about a proposed sewer fee increase that we've got before council. We are proposing a 10-year rate package beginning July 1st, this coming July 1st of 2025, and then each of the next 9 years after that through 2034. So we are proposing to increase the fees by a certain amount, which I'll go over here in a second. Sewer fees have not increased since 2016, July 1st of 2016. So by the time they're increased, it will have been 9 years with no sewer fee increase. However, costs have increased during that time period, and we do need to increase. We do have an increase in construction projects that we have programmed over the next 15 years. We do have 2,100 miles of sewer pipes, 71 pump stations, and 9 wastewater treatment plants. And we treat over approximately 1 million gallons of sewage per day at our facilities. We operate them 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, most of them with 3 shifts of operators at the treatment plants at all times. So that never ends. We have, as I mentioned, increasing costs for things the same thing as the public experiences. Electricity is more expensive. We use a lot of diesel fuel, and we have a lot of other consumables as part of our operations. The little figure there, kind of on the lower half of this front page, shows our capital improvement projects that we need to complete over the next 15 years between the current year 2025 and 2040. And you'll see there the total is 10.1 billion. And that may be a bit of a surprise because that is the same cost as the rail project approximately. And so we're talking some big numbers here. Well, you'll notice that there's a big orange spike there in 2028 and 2029. And that is for a single project, which is the Sand Island Wastewater Treatment Plant secondary upgrade. And so that is a $2.5 billion project. So it's about 25% of all the CIP. But it has to happen at a certain time. and needs to be finished by 2035 as part of something known as the consent decree. Consent decree was signed in 2010, and it was an agreement that settled several lawsuits and exceedances and violations that had happened up until that time. And it sort of wiped the slate clean of all of those the legal troubles and stuff, and put a path to essentially come into compliance with the Clean Water Act and things like that. And so this is the third and final phase of that 25-year agreement, which went from 2010 to 2035. So we need to finish this last project, and that's what that big orange spike is. So how much are sewer fees going to increase? Sewer fees will increase by 9% per year, beginning in 2025, July 1. 9% per year for the first 6 years in a row, 9% more each year, and then 8, 7, 6, and 5% in the years after that, getting out through year 10. So it's a big increase, but it is spread out over 10 years. And the reason for doing the 10 years is really because we've got this consent, finish the consent decree by 2035. That's roughly 10 years. And we want to sort of get that completely done and not have to raise rates again somewhere in between now and then. So we'll kind of get us through this giant projects that we got to finish, and then we can kind of get back to normal operations. There is an example, and it's not just the consent decree project. There are many other projects that we have to do. Including repair and replacement of existing aging infrastructure, keeping ahead of everything so that we do not, get into a bad situation again. We have other increasing regulations becoming more strict, which we have to provide additional treatment for those processes. And so to address affordability, it's kind of covered here. We're trying to do that in two different ways. And one way is changing the fee structure, which I'll talk a little bit more in just a second. And then the other one is to offer an assistance program for our economically challenged customers. And so to be eligible for that, we're committing at least $10 million per year to that program. We call it a CARES program. So this is brand new. This doesn't exist today. There's no such program like this in Hawaii, but it's very similar to the rental and utility relief program that had to do with which was post-COVID, where funds were distributed for folks who qualified. And so the qualifications are there. What we're proposing is 80% AMI income for the household income or less. And that would then qualify for a $20 to $25 credit on the fee per month. And folks would have to qualify for that and then requalify on some interval in order to continue to get that discount. The changing the fee structure, that is something that I'd like to discuss. And then if there are questions, it's maybe perhaps a little bit complicated, but basically today, the current fees are based on a fixed fee per month plus a volumetric charge. And the volumetric charge is based on how much water you use, and that's calculated, it's from the Board of Water Supply. We assume a 20% credit for volume for outside irrigation, and that 80% of the water that's used becomes sewage. But the current base charge, which is unchanged since 2016, is $77.55 per month. And then there's a volumetric charge that's added on top of that, and that is currently $4.63 per 1,000 gallons of water used. So the fixed charge is going to go up over time, but currently, as based on this average use, it's $77.55, and the volumetric charge for a typical water user is $33. So it's about 70% or 75% is the fixed charge, and only about 30% is the volumetric charge. So what that means is that if you save water or you reduce your water use and make less sewage, it only can affect a small portion of your bill, about 30%. So if you were to use 1,000 gallons less per month than you did the previous month, you could save $4.63. Now, as we go, so what we wanted to do was shift that to about a 50-50. So in other words, over time, after actually about 4-year period, we will be to more of a 50-50. So that means that, in year 20, let's say 2028, the fixed charge would still be only $74.74, But then the volumetric charge for the average person would be up to $87. So what that means, if you did not change your water consumption, the typical person would be paying $87. However, if you reduce your water use by say 1,000 gallons, you have a much bigger savings than the $4. It's now saving you more like $15, per month. So that way you have more. We think of this as giving you more control over your sewer charges. That's can be a little bit confusing. There is a table also on the website which shows for actual water use. So you can take your own bill and you could look at it and it will tell you how many thousands of gallons you used per month. And then you can see how much your rate increases, over time, because it's not the same for everybody. Because of this shift, and even now, if you use less water, it has a different effect on the charges than if you use more water. So it sort of promotes water conservation, which is the same thing that the Board of Water Supply bill does. You get charged a lot more for higher water use than you do for lower water use. And it gets to kind of shows more the value of water by doing this. And so that was part of what our stakeholder advisory group recommended to us, over the past 6 months that we've been working on this. And so I think I'll leave it at that. I hope that, kind of gives an explanation, and I know folks will be, kind of concerned about, some of this issue, but I'd be happy to, answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns from the board for Dr. Babcock? Any from, I see Mike. Mike, go ahead.
I didn't actually have a specific question on rates, more a question on the basically the consent decree. I believe as part of the decree, Hawaii, or specifically city and county, has agreed to phase out existing cesspools by 2050. I was wondering how that plays into the budget in terms of if it's additional infrastructure needed, capacity and processing, and so on.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So it's about the consent decree, and it's also about cesspools. So the consent decree is an agreement which really just covers the collection system, the upgrade of the Honolulu wastewater treatment plant in Ewa Beach, and the upgrade of the Sand Island treatment plant, in Honolulu. It doesn't cover anything to do with cesspools. So there is separately a state law, Act, I believe it's 127 or I think that's the number, but it's one of those numbers. And it was passed a few years ago, and that bans cesspools in residential properties by the year 2050. And so there are on statewide a whole bunch of cesspools, about 80,000, but on Oahu about 10,000. So we kind of have some, but not, a huge number. Some of those cesspools are located within our existing sewer districts. So within the Sand Island district, for example, within the Honolulu district, within Waianae, within Waimanalo, Kailua, et cetera. And we actually have plans already in place for 18 different sewer improvement districts. So what that means is areas within our existing, sewer areas where we would expand the sewers and bring it to folks who have cesspools. And then those folks would connect to our system and then close their cesspool. And then they would be in compliance. So there's, two ways to come into compliance. One is to connect to a sewer if there is one. Another one is to close your cesspool and upgrade to an acceptable system like a septic tank or an aerobic treatment unit. So we have plans to cover about 3,000 or so folks that we're planning to bring sewers to within the next 6 to 10 years. And then it's possible that there would be additional, expansion, beyond that. But that's currently what we have planned for assisting folks with cesspools, cesspool conversions. And when we bring a sewer by ordinance, if we bring a sewer to your street, you're obligated to connect to the sewer. It's not an option to not connect. And then you would then be on the sewer system and you would be starting to pay a monthly sewer fee. Currently, if you have a cesspool, then you're not, not part of our system, and you don't receive any charge, of course, for sewer service because we're not providing sewer service. So I hope that answers your question, or if there's, kind of additional information. Looks like he has additional.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just to follow it, is there a place we can go, or people who have cesspools can go to see where they are on the schedule, or see when that potential upgrade would occur in their area?
It's the sewer
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's a great question. And actually, the state is working on that right now. So the state has a cesspool prioritization tool. It's run by UH. You can get it through the DOH website. You can get a link to it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it is called the cesspool prioritization tool. And so it shows every cesspool, on the island and actually statewide. And you can get the address, by going in and pushing on the little dots. And you can find out, people should know already whether they have a cesspool or not. And then what it doesn't have, though, is the planned sewer improvement districts. But right now, they're working on that. They got a grant from the state ledge last year to upgrade it. And so they're working with each of the counties, including us. And then they're going to input that information into the GIS layer, which will show where planned sewer improvement districts are. The place where you could find out now, but it's not going to give addresses, is on our website. The city's website will show all of the sewer improvement district projects. And again, it'll just kind of give you an area. So it'll say Eva Beach Sewer Improvement District Area number 4, something like that. And it doesn't give super more information than that right now, but most folks that are sort of in town or, in an existing, near existing sewage treatment plant, there's a project for them. The exception right now is that a lot of the North Shore, where there isn't any sewers now or any treatment plants, so say from past about Kahuku and Laie, coming all the way around the point into Haleiwa, most of that is not currently on any kind of a plan. But most other areas, and that's where the vast majority of the cesspools are, and we just don't have any infrastructure out there. Those folks are mostly going to probably do their own on-site, upgrades. Most of the rest of the people, if you're in town or anywhere like that, you're probably going to be covered by an improvement district project. So thanks for that question.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board? Any questions from the community? Dr. Babcock, we appreciate you coming out this evening. Thank you very much.
And can I just say one more thing?
Yes,
That
sir.
is that there's going to be a series of public hearings at council for this to get approved. It's kind of a long process for council to approve a modification to ordinance. So that requires 3 readings. So they've only had their first reading so far, November 7th. There's a committee meeting. Our first committee meeting is Public Infrastructure and Technology, which is Thursday, day after tomorrow at 2:30. It's probably a long hearing so people can do written testimony, oral testimony, et cetera. Has to go back to council in December and January and probably February. And there'll be some committee meetings in between. So all that, will be, sort of posted on the council websites. And if you folks ever want us to come back, if you have different questions or something you want to learn about, I'd be happy to come back.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next up on our agenda, we have a presentation by the State of Hawaii Public Utilities Commission. Mike Wallerstein.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you
So
hear me
Mr.
okay?
Wallerstein, if you want to take over, or do you
Yes.
have a presentation you'd like to share or anything
Yes,
like that? Or
I do have some slides, so let me see if I can get them up on the screen.
Okay. Yeah, you should be able to, I think. So yes, you should be able to.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Babcock. That was very informative.
Now, can you see these slides?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. I've got a short presentation on the Public Utility Commission's Energy Equity and Justice docket. My name is Mike Wallerstein. I'm an attorney for the commission, and I've been on this docket since its inception. So let's get right to it. Uh-oh, what just happened? Of course, technology. Let's try again. Let me try one more time. How about, it was at the end. I apologize. Here we go. Okay, so first let me give you a brief introduction into the to the commission. We're a state agency and we have a specific job, and that is to regulate privately owned utilities. So we don't regulate municipal utilities like the the Board of Water Supply, but we regulate Hawaiian Electric, Hawaii Gas, KIUC, Hawaiian Telecom, Young Brothers, lots of smaller private water utilities, and lots of transportation utilities. And the way we do most of our business is by dockets. What is a docket? It's basically just a way we get ourselves organized, and it's also a way that anybody, whether a party to the docket or not, can access all of the information related to that docket. So if you've got a docket number, you can go to our website, plug that docket number in, and get every single filing to take a look at what's been going on. So that brings us to the Energy Equity and Justice docket. So you've got a docket number now, and I'll show you how to use that later. But what I really want to talk about is what we're doing in this docket. So we've divided the work into 5 tracks, and all of these are meant to address different facets of equity. The first one is procedural equity, second affordability, third fourth and hosting, which is a special one because we didn't come up with that one, that was stakeholder created. Fourth, equitable access to clean energy, and then finally, utility performance tracking. Those are our 5 tracks. We think we're covering most of the work of energy equity in one of these 5 tracks, or sometimes in multiple. But let me give you a little bit closer look at what these tracks are. So procedural equity, the idea here is it can be really difficult.
Could you turn it up just a...
Intimidating. I'm sorry, can you hear me okay? Should I try and project?
Can hear.
Okay. It can be really difficult for people to interact with the commission or participate in commission proceedings if they don't have a lawyer. Lawyers are expensive, and lots of people who have real interest in energy equity, people who are having trouble affording their electric bills, for example, are very unlikely to also be able to afford a lawyer. So what we're looking at in this docket is ways to make it easier to interact with the commission. So we've done some things, particularly in this docket. We waived all of our filing fees. We're doing different practices with our notices. All of the meetings are open to everybody. We're encouraging participation in many different ways. This is one of the ways we're doing that, by presenting to neighborhood boards and the county councils. But we're trying to make it easier to interact with the commission, knowing that it's not very easy right now. So that's the basics of procedural equity. The next track, and maybe this is the most obvious, but it's called affordability and direct payment assistance. I think you all know that Hawaii has the highest electric bills in the country. And the main reason for that is our continued reliance on fossil fuels, which are very expensive. But we also know that lots and lots of people are having trouble paying their bills. So we're looking at what the commission can do about that, specifically what aid we can give to low and moderate income customers. So this could take the form of specific discounts, changes to disconnection policy, other ways potentially to improve affordability generally, or to look at payment arrangements. Anything related to the bill is open in this track. The third track, as I mentioned, siting and hosting, this was created by our stakeholders. We did not realize how important this was to people until we started having meetings. And siting and hosting, they actually refer to 2 different things. Siting is forward-looking. In other words, where are we going to site new energy infrastructure? And hosting is retrospective, looking at where energy infrastructure already exists. And the idea here is one, distributional. These generators, transmission lines, etc., they're not evenly distributed among our communities. They're concentrated in some of them. That is inherently not equitable. But there's a second layer in that different types of energy facilities have really different impacts on the communities where they are located. And so we need not just to look at where any energy facility is, but what type of facility is where and how are the burdens of each individually affecting the community that hosts them. So there's some limit. The commission has really limited siting authority, and we're trying to get the word out that we are not ultimately responsible for siting, but we can, with the group of stakeholders we've assembled, make recommendations to other entities that are responsible or potentially responsible for siting. And the thing we're looking at with hosting is primarily community benefits agreements or community benefits packages. This is where a developer will give usually some monetary benefit to the community that hosts the energy facility, and usually over the life of that facility. So looking at ways to make those effective, make sure they actually deliver benefits to the community. Next is equitable access. I'm sure you've all seen solar panels on people's roofs as you drive around or walk around. Maybe you have them on your own roof, but there are many of our neighbors who don't or can't, and that's because we've got somewhere between 40 and 60% of our residents in state rent or live in condos, so they don't have control of the roof that's over their head, meaning they can't decide to install solar panels even if they want to and have the money to. So how do we get the benefits of rooftop solar to people who can't put solar on their roof? We've got some programs, some existing programs. The most obvious one is the community-based renewable energy program, but there are potentially others that we're looking at, including net metering credit donation. But the idea here is there is inequity in who has control of their roof, and it's a great benefit to those who do. And it is something that we would like to distribute that benefit equally across everybody. And then our final track is utility performance tracking. This is sounded complicated to me for a long time, but I think I've settled on my best explanation of it is we're just trying to measure equity. We're trying to measure or gather data that lets us know where outcomes are not equitable and where they are. And this data should inform the policies that we either make or recommend in the other tracks. So it's just trying to figure out what data we don't have, what data we need, where we get it from, and then how to employ it to make good decisions. So if you want to get involved, we would love for you or any of your constituents to get involved in this process. There are at least 3 easy ways to do it. One is you can subscribe to the docket, so you can get an email with a link to every document that's filed if you want to follow closely. You can attend meetings, and you can file public comments at any time. So let me just walk you through those 3 things. So first, I told you if you have a docket number, you can go to our website and get all the information you want about that docket. So the docket number for this equity investigation is 2022-0250. And if you go to the website here, that's how you find all of our documents. You plug in that docket number, you click on search, and then you should get the first result, which is this docket, and you'll get 2 options. You can view it or you can subscribe. If you just click view, you'll see all the documents in there. If you click subscribe, it'll prompt you to put in your email address, and then you will get an email every time a new document is filed. You can file comments at any time in this docket, or any other commission docket for that matter. puc.comments@hawaii.gov. Identify the docket that you want to comment on. That helps us sort things, but anybody can do this at any time. And this is another way that you can communicate with the commission. And of course, we also take paper filings at our offices as well, if that's of interest. That's our address. We're open normal business hours, Monday to Friday. And that sums up what I had to say about the Energy Equity and Justice docket, but I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the board? Or Paula, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for your presentations. Both you and the man before you are talking about fees, etc., and how it can be equitably. But my question is, what about seniors who are just managing to keep afloat, even though we're 85 years old? How do we fit into this whole thing where you say you're going to share with other people when we've done what we have to do with solar and everything to keep up with things and give half our life away to energy? And what do you do? What do you do for that? Because if we have solar and they're talking about, and that's utilities, taking away from us as we collect it on our roof and giving it to other people through the Hawaiian Electric Company, I don't think that's equitable. I think that's not fair.
So what I would invite you to do, if you have the time and inclination, is to show up to one of our meetings.
I cannot. I'm in a wheelchair. Sorry.
I see. We do all of the meetings in this docket work remotely, so if you can be on WebEx, you can show up to one of our meetings.
I would love to, but I'm not. I'm a TT, terrible tech.
Ah, okay. Well, I hope to encourage you that what you're doing now is all you would need to do to, it's the same WebEx, the tiles look exactly the same to me. But if you do want to attend one of our meetings and need particular accommodations, we can and will do that. Please reach out to me.
I'm not asking for special accommodation. I'm just saying, how do you be equitable to seniors?
Yeah,
Seniors, and we've been working day and night. In fact, years of service, even to the state, as I am, and my husband. So, I don't think it's fair. You're going to take something and give away half. Maybe that's just me thinking. What about the seniors? And that it's not a dirty word. I hope not. So.
Certainly not in our docket. It's not. We've looked at a lot of different facets of equity, and seniors are one of the groups that we've looked at. One of the most recent examples I can give you is we're looking at medical disconnections. If somebody has a piece of medical equipment that helps them live, for example, oxygen, losing power is a life and death situation. And if they get disconnected because of non-payment, that is a life and death situation. So we're aware of this. I hope that our utilities are similarly aware of this and do not want anybody to die for lack of ability to pay their bill.
Is there any way that we can get some kind of paperwork that we send in to say this is our problem?
So this is what we're working on, is to actually coordinate our utilities a little bit better so that we have a single disconnection policy that is across all of the utilities, and that the conditions for disconnection are very clear, but also that there are some customers who simply cannot be disconnected because, for example, they have a medical reason where it is not safe to disconnect them. Right now, it's more of a patchwork of policies.
How does a senior do that? Because you're talking about disconnections and not disconnections, and you go to the department and tell them, or do you write to you folks to tell you, or how do you do that? That's what my seniors are asking me.
Right now, the
Okay.
best way to do that is to go directly to the utility, to call them up and
Okay.
tell them.
So that'd be like Hawaiian Electric.
Yes, so you would call up Hawaiian Electric's customer service. You'd want to have your bill in hand, so you've got your account number.
Right.
And then tell them, I have a medical necessity, whatever the situation is, tell them that, and they will work with you. They should
Okay.
work with you. If they
Right.
don't, if you hear anything about any utility, not just Hawaiian Electric, not working with you or giving you the runaround, then I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you immediately if that's happening.
All right. I like that.
Because we are in a position to do something about that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from anybody? Hearing none, thank you very much, Mr. Wallerstein. We appreciate you coming out tonight and providing all very helpful information. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Love, love, love.
Thank you.
Taka, love.
So next on our agenda is our poly highway safety concerns. Paula did touch on some things earlier. I didn't know if you wanted to add anything to that or if anybody.
Oh, I always have something to add to the public pedestrian. If utilities want to handle it and everybody else, that's great. It's still a really soccer thing for the community with no bus. Los Angeles took all our things. We still don't have a bus. We still don't have a light at the at the bus stop, which is city and county. We also now are going to be having a raised sidewalk. So my question was, why didn't the DOT go to every single house in that area and tell them you're putting in a raised sidewalk? Now I asked them, you did something over there, but what are you doing on the other side? Because they got to go across 6 lanes. What are you doing on the other side of that? No answer. I want to know why DOT is being so stupid that they're not going to every single house, because they're going to be affected not only by the speeding, but by the sound of the thing going over and over and over there near their house. They didn't even come to the houses to explain to them what was going to go on, and that's a DOT. The second thing I want to bring up is that 32 inches is not enough on the poly highway for wheelchairs. They are breaking the law by, and I was going to say something with OMPA, because OMPA should be looking into ADA. I want to tell everybody that 32 inches is not enough for the now new wheelchairs, because if you look at the law, which was made in 1990 by Bush, you look at the law now, the state is behind and they have not looked into what wheelchairs and those that are blind have to go through. Some of the sidewalks are so skinny, even at Queen Emma, the wheelchair would never be able to get through there, even from Puiva down to Laimi. Now I have all the measurements from MidPac of every single size wheelchair, because we also in our wheelchair, because as a physical therapist, I want everybody that knows anyone in a wheelchair, that is not safe. And then on one side is grass or mud or no room or a hydrant or a telephone pole right next to where they have to go around and go into the road. So I think it's about time that ADA looks at pedestrian, and you keep talking about pedestrian safety. How come nobody's looking at the poly highway? The poly highway is not safe for pedestrians. No way. And the sidewalks aren't even there between certain bus stops. So if somebody's in a wheelchair or somebody's blind, they got to walk through grass to get to the bus stop. And now you folks have taken away, the city and county have taken away the bus stop. They've taken away the bus stop for us. We still got to cross 6 to 8 lanes of traffic. If you want all the stipulations on the size of the wheelchairs and the widths. Every wheelchair that I went through, including the power wheelchair, does not allow the wheelchair to get over for somebody else to walk past. That somebody
Thank-
walking past has to go into the highway to get past even somebody who's even blind, get down, because none of the sidewalks in the poly are safe. None. And I
Okay.
want everybody to look at them.
Maybe this would be something for our state officials to look at.
If
So,
if utilities is an attorney, I like hire him right now.
okay.
They just-
Well, he probably works with Public Utilities Commission.
know, but
Anyway,
I'm tired of looking at this and people calling me and telling me I had to walk in grass, I had to walk in mud, I couldn't go, whatever. What is wrong with these people in DOT? And they don't even go to talk to people to make it safe.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you. So, Sylvia?
I'm having video problem. I can't, turn on my video. I don't know what's going on tonight. But my question is, just in this past week or two, we've had two letters, press release letters from the mayor's office, and it addressed it that they were getting so many $1 million. They were in grant for public safety on pedestrian safety issues. Is there a possibility, because even though this is Poly Highway is a state, I was wondering if there's a possibility that the city could be doing something for us with some of this grant money that they've been getting. And we've had two letters.
Okay. Well, maybe Ray G can enlighten us. So, Ray G, would you like to chime in?
Sure. I don't think so, Sylvia. Usually the state and the city stay far apart. The pedestrian money is probably for complete streets projects and the Vision Zero plan. And what is that other one? Vision Zero, complete streets, and I forgot what it's called, but one more. But those three usually come with a list of projects and part of the local funds and the federal funds. The local funds are matched for the federal funds. So no, there's no way that they match, and they always leave Poly Highway and all other highways to the state.
Okay, thank
That
you.
answers your question. They do nothing.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
Are there
Thanks,
any other questions or comments from anybody regarding this issue? Yeah, Paula, go ahead.
If anyone wants the sizes of the wheelchairs that aren't gonna fit, even the powered wheelchairs, I did that whole research and I have it all if you wanted it in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, we have the approval of our minutes from the last meeting, which is September 17th, 2024.
Chair, do we have
Did I what?
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, I'm sorry, we just did the pedestrian safety concerns. So, yeah, so we're gonna take up the minutes. Do I hear, I'm sorry, I heard someone say something, but do we have any?
are we skipping
minutes?
issues E and F?
I'm
which
sorry,
is-
Mike, can you repeat that, please?
So aren't there two other items on the agenda before the minutes? Time law
Oh,
and
my.
the neighborhood board 10 resolution.
Discussion of.
Oh, okay, sorry, my notes didn't compare with the official agenda, so that was my mistake. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so, yeah, what I wanted to talk about with the Office of Informational Practices sending out that letter, which everybody probably looked at. I will tell you, I sit on the commission, and most of a lot of our commissioners are board chairs, and some just say flatly they're going to ignore it. And I really am trying to encourage the commission, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do it, is to suggest there be some sort of legislative proposed change to the law. Because if you're going to operate under the law, this is just, it's ridiculous, I think, in my opinion, of how we had to conduct our meeting. But according to the official interpretation by the Office of Informational Practices, that's what we're supposed to do. So I don't know if anyone wants to add anything, but I have a, just so you know, so I have a, it was in the civil beat, but I did put forward a resolution last month of the commission asking the legislature to exempt the boards, but there's a little bit of pushback about that. That may be a bridge too far because there's some issues with, you know, everybody might have seen about Office of Hawaiian Affairs also asked to be exempted. And then a lot of people are concerned or they're not appreciative of the fact that the legislature isn't covered by this. So some of the legislators I talked to said there might be some pushback about trying to exempt the boards. So my view was to amend the law in two respects. And that is, first off, allow more open discussion by the board members. Like, for instance, when the police officers or a city official gives his report, we're allowed to discuss topics that just might come up very recently. There is an emergency exception, but it says an emergency exception. So that's not really, to me, that's not an appropriate exception. The second part of that is to allow the neighborhood commission to, you know, actually implement and oversee the implementation of the Sunshine Law issues for the boards themselves. And that would allow a more, I think, a more expedient sort of interpretation, you know, because now with the OIP, when we ask them, it takes forever to get a response back. And so I'm hoping that these two things are you know, that the commission will adopt it and then we can go to the legislature. Anyway, so Mike, do you have a comment?
Mainly comments, not really, or an observation, I guess. Part of our problem might be is that basically, I don't know how to put this delicately, but some of our members tend to get up on their own soapboxes, and we tend to really run over and have an excess of opinions being shared when really we should just be raising community concerns in, I won't say a terse manner, but you know, expressed well and briefly. And that happened, you know, we cut off basically any kind of questioning tonight. And so our meeting is, I mean, it's coming up on, what is it? Coming up on 9 o'clock, and we've gone through 6 agenda items. So, I mean, it's been a very protracted meeting, which is kind of nice. That's kind of a, I guess, a hidden positive of this interpretation of the Sunshine Law. The big problem that I see is that our purpose as a neighborhood board is to express community concerns. We are a voice piece for the community. And if we can't ask those questions kind of in a free form format that we've been doing, then it really seems that to me like we're failing what our purpose is. So just to throw that comment out there. Thank you.
Well, the last part of that about the failing in the purpose, I wholeheartedly agree, because if we have someone come in with a community concern, they say, okay, I'm having this problem, you know, X, Y, and Z, and we've experienced before, or someone in our on our board has the answer, we can't give it to them. That's prohibited. I mean, so yes, to me, it's a tremendous failure. I understand what you're saying about the positive benefits, but that, you know, there's a trade-off, and to me, we're definitely, it's failing the mission of the boards to stifle all this communication. Like I said, a lot of boards are just ignoring this, but that's not right either. So anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know. What I would say is that if you have specific issues, like say with the police report, say, I know like Audrey is very concerned about the Board of Water Supply and this one construction project, let me know and I'll put that on our agenda, and then you can ask the questions once the parties give their report. And I know that's kind of a pain, and a lot of times we don't know the issues because they don't come out until last week, or we don't really think about them. But that's sort of, our hands are tied. That's what we have to do. So if you do have anything you want me to put on the agenda, be happy to put it under our elected officials or whatever reports, and then we can talk about it. So Reggie, did you want to add something?
Just a quick question. You mentioned about the NCO implementing the Sunshine Law upon themselves. Would they be able to have the capacity to do so? Like, would they have to hire attorneys to assist?
Well, that's unclear, but I know that we're redoing the neighborhood plan. That is, that does get reviewed by corporate counsel. However, you do have agencies are allowed to implement rules, which do become administrative law. So my hope is that the answer to that is no, but that is actually unclear. So yeah, we've kind of thought about that, but I'm not really clear on that answer yet. And to tell you the truth, I'm not sure it really is clear. It just depends on kind of the whims of the current lawyers overseeing the process.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, can't be more definitive. Any other last comments or concerns? Okay, we can move on to our next item. And there again, let me just stress more time, please send me anything you want to put on the agenda. We can cover it in our reports from our elected officials or whoever. So next up, sorry, I'm making sure I have the right agenda this time. We have our we did that. Approval of the minutes. So now we have the approval of the minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to?
Once again, I think we are missing the neighborhood board 10 resolution discussion.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. I apologize. Unfortunately, I have to say I forgot to bring the resolution, but there was a certain type of traffic construction issue outside of our district, I believe. And Mike, you probably know this better than anybody living in that area. This is down by Punch Bowl.
It's right on the edge of our district. Yeah, it's right on the edge.
I think it's technically outside of our district, so it is. I guess it may concern us. Unfortunately, like I said, I do not have that resolution right in front of me. What I can do is put it on our Google Drive, and if anybody wants to look at it, and if anybody wants to put it on the menu, the agenda for consideration, I'll be happy to just do that. I can do that as chair. But I can't exactly recall what it covers, and I just didn't know if our board wanted to take that up since it's technically outside of our district. Sylvia.
Do you know the cross streets of this Alapai Street project? What's the exact? I mean, Alapai Street is so many blocks, and it's also divided by the H1 freeway. So where exactly is this location?
Well, I don't have my computer up, but someone can look up the address right now. It's 1617.
I know 1617, but
I thought it was technically.
I can give you the point of information
because it might really be in our district if it's above the freeway.
Okay. Well, so am I hearing? Do you want me just to put it on our agenda for next meeting, and then we can consider it at that time? I can do that.
Yeah, I think we better to find out whether this address is above the Punch Bowl side of the freeway or it's down by Queens Hospital side.
I don't think so. I think it's on our side of the freeway. But what I'll do is I'll just put it on
our side of the freeway, and it's on Alapai Street between Magellan and Prospect, then it's in our district.
I do not believe it's in our district, but in any event, I will put it on the agenda, and we'll have it in front of us, and we'll have more definitive. We can definitively say at that point.
We might have an issue with it, even
Okay.
if it's on the other side of our boundary, you know?
Okay. Well, then I'll put it on. That's why I asked if our board wanted to consider it. I'm sorry I don't have the details. Ray G, did you want to add something? Oh, no. Okay, so I'll put it on the agenda and we'll review it at our next meeting. So without anything further, now we have the review of our minutes. Thank you. And I hope everyone had a chance. Does anyone wish to propose any amendments to our minutes, our distributed minutes? Hearing none, we will adopt as distributed, as we typically do. Are there any, do we have any other new business? Anyone want to propose any? But we'd have to vote on it, of course. So hearing none, we can move on to announcements. And I do have a couple. The Nuʻuanu Hawaii group will meet at Queen Emma Summit Palace November 21st from 5 to 6 p.m. or 5 to 6:15 p.m. Everybody, I hope, looked at the registration deadlines for the board elections. The candidate registration begins December 20th. Oh, everybody can apply for that. And then lastly, our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. Are there any other announcements? Sylvia, did you have an announcement?
Patrick?
Yes.
Opening day of the state legislature is on the 15th of January, the week before our next board meeting.
Okay, you're just announcing that. Thank you. Are there any other announcements? Yeah, the opening of the legislature is a good thing. So you might want to track that. Just call one of our elected officials, Jenna or Carl, and they'll give you information, I suppose. So is there anything further? Hearing nothing further, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a great holiday. I'll call the meeting adjourned. Our
Thank you,
business is
Patrick.
concluded. Thank you. Thank you very much.